Now on CoastTV News.
Rental rules, the new policy in Milton that could be up for a vote tonight. And drawbridge erosion concerns the impact of repair project to a main route in Rehoboth Beach.
This is CoastTV News Midday.
Good morning and thank you for joining us. I'm Elisa Weber and welcome to CoastTV News Midday. We are going to start with taking a live look outside at Rehoboth Beach this morning. Our first meteorologist, Bob Trahey, is going to join us. Bob, we don't see any people on the boardwalk, and it's probably the best decision because we can see all of the rain outside.
I think that's probably a good idea, Elisa, as we do have a yellow alert today for that rain, and it's coming down heavy at times. And the yellow alert is for the potential for flooding. We're seeing steady to heavy rain across Sussex County right now. This is a 4-hour replay of the radar, and we're looking at it being, well, pretty wet out there from Seaford up just north of Georgetown to Milton. We're looking at moderate to heavy rain right now, and that extends down to Highway 9, Millsboro, Angola by the Bay, and Gumboro also seeing that steady rain. And the heavy rain also extends up into the eastern shore at the present time. Southern parts of Delaware seeing it, as well as Salisbury, Willard, and Ocean Pines. And the eastern shore also seeing the steady rain. And once again, it is heavy at times. Anytime you see this yellow or orange, that is pockets of heavy rain. As it continues to move in, we have a solid shield of rain from Delaware all the way through Virginia and even points south and west as we have a stationary boundary. We're watching low pressure rippling along that front, and that's what's giving us all the rain, and there's plenty more to come. And temperatures have actually fallen in the steady rain. We're only in the mid 40s, and they're not going anywhere as we have a raw east-northeast breeze gusting up to 30 miles per hour at the beaches. So Futurecast at noon still has moderate to heavy rain in place. Watch for flooding on the roads, ponding, definitely some flooding in poor drainage areas, and we continue with the rain, maybe letting up a little bit at times into the afternoon, but it's still hanging around into the evening hours. So I think we could see maybe 1 to 2 inches of rain right through the evening hours. And then following the rain, it's a cold air, and we could be talking about a hard freeze as we go into Wednesday morning. Much more on the rain totals, and that cold weather coming up a little bit later in my full forecast.
Thank you, Bob. Happening tonight, Milton's Town Council could vote on a new short-term rental policy. Milton officials studied how other Sussex County communities are dealing with businesses like Airbnbs. A 30-day or less residential dwelling will define the Milton short-term rental, and the vote by the council will add a new article in the town code with dealing with rental properties. People living in Milton see the benefits of these businesses with the town's proximity to the beaches.
You know, people got somewhere, they got to stay somewhere, so especially if they're coming down for, the beach and all that. Got to stay somewhere, so I don't see a problem with short-term rentals personally.
Again, a vote could happen at tonight's town council meeting, which is scheduled for 6:30. And happening today in Lewes, officials will discuss implementing a 2% lodging tax. This will affect hotels within the town and comes on top of an already existing 8% lodging tax. Owners of properties within Lewes are not happy with a potential raise in prices. If this tax goes into effect, it will not apply to reservations made before January 1st of 2026. And happening today, road delays taking effect in Milford. On your screen now is where milling will begin to prepare for a paving project. This work will take place daily from 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. That paving work is scheduled for Monday, April 14th. And we have several more days of nighttime closures on Route 113 in Millsboro. It is related to the bypass project, and according to DelDOT, crews will continue working through April 11th. DelDOT says it is to place beams for that new bridge. And up on April 9th, the closures are affecting drivers in the southbound lanes. And then to April 11th, there will be northbound closures on 113. DelDOT says crews are working from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. And happening today in Rehoboth Beach, DelDOT will host a public meeting about the drawbridge. DelDOT says that drawbridge leading into the downtown area needs structural work to prevent erosion. DelDOT is eyeing the off-season for these repairs and scheduling it to start between October and lasting through April 2026. That meeting about the project takes place at 5 p.m. at the Rehoboth Beach Convention Center. And we are now taking a live look outside at Washington, D.C. We are seeing expected criticism and defense of last week's tariffs. President Trump is back in Washington today after protesters rallied from coast to coast against his policies. NBC's Alice Barr shows us the impacts of those tariffs the president says will be beneficial in the long run.
This morning, markets bracing for what could be another wild week on Wall Street as investors grapple with President Trump's new tariffs.
What's going to happen with the market, I can't tell you, but I can tell you our country has gotten a lot stronger.
A minimum 10% tariff kicked in over the weekend against trading partners across the globe, set to rise even more on Wednesday for dozens of countries. The White House says more than 50 have now reached out about lowering trade barriers.
They're dying to make a deal, but I said, we're not going to have deficits with your country.
The Treasury Secretary pushing back against recession fears and added anxiety for Americans who want to retire, seeing their savings plunge.
I think they don't look at the day-to-day fluctuations of what's happening.
Democrats reject that, slamming the president's response.
People have seen their retirement savings on fire, and there he is out on the golf course.
Nationwide, hands-off protests over the weekend rallied against Trump administration policies, including the growing immigration crackdown, as the White House faces a deadline today to return a man wrongly deported to a notorious El Salvador prison. Kilmer Abrego Garcia, a husband and father with no criminal conviction, was granted legal status in the U.S. in 2019. A federal judge saying his detention appears wholly lawless. The Trump administration says he's affiliated with the MS-13 gang, though the Justice Department's own lawyer acknowledged the absence of evidence in court. Attorney General Pam Bondi now placing that lawyer on administrative leave. In Washington, Alice Barr, NBC News.
After President Trump announced a 10% tariff on all countries last week, China has decided to hit back with a tariff of its own. They're also cutting back on some of their imports, specifically chicken. This includes China suspending all chicken imports from a Delmarva chicken processing company, Mount Air Farms. Mount Air Farms has locations across Delmarva, including Millsboro, Selbyville, and Frankfort. China says it detected a banned drug in shipments from Mount Air Farms and another company. We reached out to Mount Air for a statement who referred us to the National Chicken Council. And here is that statement we received. Quote, "The bottom line for the American consumer is that this should have little to no effect on their chicken sandwich or wings, as more than 99% of the chicken we eat in America is hatched, raised, and harvested right here in the USA." The Commerce Ministry of Beijing also announced it filed a lawsuit with the World Trade Organization over the tariffs. And coming up after the break, hotels hurt the decrease in Ocean City bookings, and we have what is being blamed. When people go on vacation, they want to enjoy a relaxing getaway, but where people are staying is changing. The Ocean City Tourism Report shows in February there was a 4% decrease in hotel occupancy compared to the previous year, while short-term rentals saw a 6% increase. While some believe people are starting to prefer Airbnbs over hotels, others think it was just due to the weather.
We had two storms that we hadn't seen in about a decade. I can remember when I was in Dewey Beach, the last time we had storms that bad. So that had a lot to do with it.
And regardless of the reason, only time will tell if visitors stay in hotels or decide to stay in Airbnbs. And DMV On the Go is back in 3 Sussex County locations. It's where you can get many DMV services in a mobile trailer. On Mondays, the program sits at Dart Lewes Transit Center from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m., the Milton Cheer Center on Tuesdays, and Harbor Freight Shopping Center in Seaford on Thursdays.
The rain continues to fall heavy at times. That's exactly what we're seeing on the FH Fur Cam in Cambridge, 45. And what you see is what you get. Temperatures moving very little as the rain continues. It's a yellow alert for heavy rain. Watch for local flooding. And then the rain does taper off later tonight, then much colder after that. In fact, we're looking at the possibility of a hard freeze as we go into Wednesday morning. Congratulations to Nancy Jones from Lewes on winning a new umbrella. Good timing, Nancy. And you have it courtesy of Paul Davis and CoastTV. More on the rain and cold in my full forecast after the break. It's about as gloomy as it gets on our Monday. Boy, you know, Mondays, if it's rainy and looks like this, that's good. If it's a weekend, not so good, but definitely a wet start to the week. Tullen Razor Cam, gray slate skies over Delaware Bay with Whitecaps 46 as the rain continues to fall and temperatures not moving this afternoon, staying in the 40s with rain heavy at times. It's in our storyline, and we are looking at that rain heavy at times as we go into the afternoon, dreary and raw. I think we're looking at 1 to 2 inches stretches of rain, and then it clears out late tonight, and then the rain is followed by cold air, a big chunk of cold air, and tomorrow's going to be sunny but windy with gusts up to 40 miles per hour, feeling colder with the wind, and a very good chance of seeing a freeze as we go into Wednesday morning if the winds die down. Here's the rain so far. As of 11 a.m., 64 hundredths in Millsboro, Dagsboro 59 hundredths, Lewes 57 hundredths of an inch of rain, with Rehoboth at 48, 47 hundredths in Georgetown and Bethany Beach at 41 hundredths, and it continues to rain. You see all the green. Then you also see a little bit of that yellow and orange showing up, showing the enhanced, the heavier rain, and that's what we're seeing around Milton towards Lewes, up towards Cape May right now. So a very wet ferry ride with heavier rain there. Andrewsville seeing the rain, and even farther to the north near Harrington, Riverview, and Milford, we are looking at the rain continuing to fall and moving to the south, north and east, I should say. Southern parts of Sussex County also seeing the rain from Laurel to Millsboro, Longneck, and Selbyville, Salisbury to Ocean Pines in the steady rain, and it's a steady rain into Cambridge as well. So we're all socked in with the rain as it's moving from southwest to northeast. We have a front to the south with an area of low pressure rippling along that front through Virginia. So that's enhancing the heavy rain from Virginia over Delmarva and into southern Jersey, where they desperately need the rain. They have severe drought conditions there, and more heavy rain into the Piedmont of North Carolina. So all this is heading our way. It's like a hose just pointing at Delmarva with all the rain coming up along this front. The front slowly moves to the east, but as it does, we'll be seeing that rippling low pressure along that front continuing to keep the rain going. It's snow across New England where it's colder, and then the big push of cold air is across the northern plains. It's behind this front that we'll see it get very cold tomorrow, and maybe that freeze chance into Wednesday morning. But right now, temperatures are steady in the mid-40s, very cold, around 45 to 46 everywhere, and a raw east-northeast breeze gusting over 20 miles per hour at the coast. In fact, gusting to 28 at Indian River Inlet right now, as we're looking at potentially about another half inch to 3/4 of an inch of rain as we go into the afternoon hours. And here's Futurecast showing those northeasterly winds 15 to 20 miles per hour. Then eventually they swing around to the north and west, and they're gusting over 30 miles per hour as we go into tomorrow. And that's much colder air, as we do have a freeze warning possible as we go into Wednesday morning as high pressure slides in. The winds start to die down. So protect your plants and vegetation as we are looking at that chance of a freeze. And as we look at that potential, it's unlikely as we go into Tuesday morning, but a hard freeze is very likely as we go into Wednesday. So protect your plants. And then Thursday, we're looking at the possibility of a frost there as well. Paul Davis, 7-day forecast. Yellow alert today for the heavy rain, 48 degrees, 49 on Tuesday, windy and cold, and then down to 29 Wednesday morning with a hard freeze, only 52 Wednesday, 57 Thursday with showers, and then more showers Friday into the upcoming weekend for Passover and Palm Sunday. A little wet with 50s and low 60s.
Thank you, Bob. And here's what's coming up this afternoon on Coast Life.
Well, we hope you had a wonderful weekend, Delmarva, but we're getting ready for another episode of Coast Life. Let's see what's coming down the line today at 4.
We are going to have an utterly fantastic time with Heslip's Coastal Cattle, how you can get a little pet and meet some cows.
Oh, so cute. Also, we're looking ahead to an event that's going to be about Memorial Day. I think a lot of times we kind of lose the meaning of Memorial Day. It's important to kind of go back to the origins, what it's about. And so we are going to do a little bit of that as well.
And I'm going to get a little professorial as we get a new segment online here called What's the Word? You won't want to miss it.
I was going to say, that was a big word, Charlie. All that fun and more is coming up today at 4 on Coast Life.
Happening today in Ocean City, 2 ordinances are going before the town council. According to the agenda, there will be a second reading for an ordinance that would not allow explicit content or language posted at the front of stores along the boardwalk. There will be a first reading for an ordinance that regulates displaying merchandise on the boardwalk. This includes eliminating mannequins displayed outside of business and regulating displays encroaching on neighboring stores. That meeting takes place tonight at 6 p.m. And in Salisbury, an opportunity to meet with future employers. The city says it will hold a job fair on April 26th. Representatives from multiple different industries will be in attendance, allowing people to network. The job fair will take place at the Newtown Community Center from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Coast TV will be right back. April 6th, 2025, the day one of the greatest records in NHL history was set. Midway through the second period, Alex Ovechkin scored career goal 895. There's Wayne Gretzky taking it all in, and it was a moment for the Capitals captain. That game was stopped at that point and a ceremony started. And the women's NCAA basketball championship game was dominated by the University of Connecticut. The Huskies dethroned South Carolina to claim the 12th title in program history. It caps an impressive run. UConn had to defeat 3 #1 seeds to become the 2025 national champions.
The rain continues to fall across Delmarva, heavy at times. Here's the FH Ver Cam. Yeah, it's dreary in Cambridge in the 40s. That'll be the case the rest of the day with the rain heavy at times. Watch for local flooding. Then the rain tapers off later tonight, and then much colder, I think, with a hard freeze as we go into Wednesday morning. Keep that in mind. Call the Coast TV First Alert weather phone. Another way to get your forecast. Your forecast just a call away. Sponsored by the law offices of Brockstead, Mandalis, and Federico. I'll have your drier but much colder 10-day forecast coming up next. The rain continues to fall across Delmarva. Here's Futurecast at noon showing the moderate to heavy rain could cause flooding in poor drainage areas. And note how temperatures don't move much. We stay in the mid to upper 40s. By 4:30, we're still seeing pockets of moderate to heavy rain. Still showery as we go into the evening hours. And then I think it does taper off after about 11 p.m. Here's your Paul Davis 10-day forecast down to 38 tomorrow. The rain clears out and here comes the cold on Tuesday. Lots of sunshine, 49. Hard freeze into Wednesday morning. Protect your plants, 29. 52 on Wednesday, a little milder Thursday with late day showers. And then Friday into the weekend, I think, is unsettled with scattered showers. So Passover and Palm Sunday could be a little wet, then drier into next week with temperatures warming up into the 70s.
Thank you, Bob, and thank you for joining us here for Coast TV News Midday. For more news and local weather, download our Coast TV News app. Don't forget to join us for Coast TV News at 5 later this afternoon. Have a great day.